I think I've always been a super curious person. I grew up in an immigrant household. I'm a first-generation American, and so I was always around a lot of different cultures and was always curious about the world around me. Hi, I'm Zinhle Essamuah, reporter for NBC News and NBC News Now. Welcome to NBCU Academy. I have naturally gravitated towards stories that impact people. All of my stories center on the people affected and their specific experiences. Do you have a name for the one coming up?
Yes, that's Mr. Braden Patrick.
Part of what's so important to me in pursuing journalism is making sure that many voices are represented, particularly underserved and underrepresented communities.
Our last number of students who didn't have a home at all were 90 in this building.
To me, underrepresented is talking about individuals or issues that don't get mainstream media coverage, that are not widely understood or perhaps accepted. Underserved refers to communities that are historically disenfranchised.
What impact do you feel this water crisis is having on your kids specifically?
I've been covering the crisis in Jackson since they had a boil water advisory back in August 2022. These were people who literally did not have access to water. I always just wanted to start with what may seem like the simple and redundant question, hey, how are you doing?
What part hurts for you?
Getting human beings to open up is not necessarily easy. It can actually be really scary to tell your story. Making sure they know who I am and what kind of story I'm trying to tell. You have to look in their eyes. You have to make them comfortable. I try and establish trust with the individual. I also try and keep in mind the larger context as to why they might be hesitant to talk to a media organization, a journalist. And then lastly, I always try and make sure the person essentially knows their rights, to know what they're answering, right? And to know who they're talking to. Really make sure that that person is expressing their views to you. It's also important to be incredibly sensitive about language. Allow the individual to self-identify themselves. What are your pronouns? How do you identify demographically? How do you identify socioeconomically? Those are things that are key to get right, because the worst thing you can do to someone who's underserved or underrepresented is misrepresent them. We deal with a lot of difficult, you could say, unsafe topics, and part of our job is to help the subjects we're talking to feel safe with us. The things we consider hard skills, the research, the hitting your deadlines, those things enable you to execute your soft skills, right? I can be more empathetic if I've done my research into that person and my community. I think it's important to be aware of the areas where you may lack empathy. That can be a hard thing to face in yourself, but when you become aware of that, you can make an effort to learn more about a specific community or a specific issue. Knowledge can empower you to be more empathetic. It can give you the tools to do that. As journalists, we deal with a lot of heavy topics. And over time, if we're not mindful, they can start to feel far away. But I think it's always important to remember as we're talking to our subjects that they are the people going through the crisis, that they are actively living, often through traumas. When we remember that, my hope is that compassion will grow. Our job is not to speak on behalf of people. Our job is to pass the microphone. What have you been hearing from the patients?
They feel a little abandoned.
Because we cover so many hard topics, it can be easy to lose hope. You have to take care of yourself. Look at some trees. Go hug someone, pet an animal. Those things make a big difference. My goal is to thrive as a person. I don't want to just document how other people live. I want to live life fully.